When 4,000 Weeks was released, it quietly stood apart from the flood of productivity books promising better hacks, smarter systems, or faster results. Instead of offering optimization, it offered something far rarer: honesty. The book quickly found its way into conversations among writers, thinkers, and leaders who were already successful, yet felt strangely behind. It was widely discussed not because it helped people do more, but because it helped them understand why doing more never seemed to be enough. Oliver Burkeman's central observation is both simple and unsettling. If you live to be 80 years old, you will have roughly 4,000 weeks. That number is shockingly small, especially when compared to the endless action lists, ambitions, and expectations we carry every day. This book does not promise control over time, it promises clarity. In this summary, you will learn why time management often backfires, how accepting limits can restore meaning, and how choosing fewer things can actually help you live more fully. The foundational principle. The core principle of 4,000 Weeks is that the problem is not poor time management, but the illusion that time can ever be fully managed. Modern life teaches us that with the right system, discipline, or tool, we can finally get on top of everything. Burkeman argues that this belief quietly drives anxiety, dissatisfaction, and a constant sense of failure. Time is finite, and human attention is limited. The moment we accept this, most productivity advice begins to collapse. The issue is not that we are inefficient, but that we expect a finite life to accommodate infinite demands. Each new efficiency gain simply creates room for more expectations, more obligations, and more pressure. Burkeman reframes productivity as a moral problem rather than a technical one. We are not struggling because we lack discipline, but because we refuse to choose. Every commitment is a decision to exclude countless other possibilities, and that exclusion feels uncomfortable. So instead of choosing deliberately, we chase the fantasy that someday we will do it all. The book's core philosophy is acceptance. When we stop fighting our limits and start working within them, time stops feeling like an enemy and begins to feel like a companion. Key lessons and applications. Lesson 1: The trap of efficiency. The first major lesson is that efficiency often worsens the very anxiety it claims to solve. We believe that if we respond faster, plan better, and optimize more, we will eventually reach a calm state where everything feels under control. But in reality, efficiency increases expectations. The faster you reply to emails, the more emails you receive. The more tasks you complete, the more tasks appear. Burkeman explains that this creates a treadmill effect. You move faster, but the finish line never arrives. Productivity systems promise relief, yet they subtly reinforce the belief that you should be capable of handling everything that comes your way. And when you inevitably cannot, the failure starts to feel personal. To deal with this, instead of asking how to do things faster, begin asking which things are worth doing at all. Allow some tasks to remain undone, not because you are careless, but because choosing means excluding. Practice leaving small inefficiencies in your day. Let an email wait. Let a task remain incomplete. And over time, this builds tolerance for imperfection and breaks the cycle of constant urgency. Lesson 2: Choosing means losing. The second lesson is that every meaningful choice requires loss, and avoiding that loss keeps us stuck. Modern culture teaches us to keep options open for as long as possible. We delay decisions, hedge commitments, and avoid closure because choosing one path means abandoning others. Burkeman argues that this avoidance drains life of depth. When you refuse to commit, you never fully arrive anywhere. Relationships remain shallow, work lacks focus, and time feels fragmented. Paradoxically, freedom does not come from infinite options, but from choosing one direction and letting the rest go. This applies not only to careers and relationships, but to everyday life. When you scroll endlessly through content, you are resisting commitment. When you keep revising plans without acting, you are protecting yourself from the discomfort of loss. To practice this, choose something small and commit fully. Decide what you will read next instead of browsing endlessly. Decide what one task deserves your best attention today, even if others suffer. Notice the relief that comes from narrowing your focus. Commitment creates meaning precisely because it excludes alternatives. Lesson 3: The myth of the ideal future. A recurring theme in the book is our obsession with a future moment when life will finally begin. We tell ourselves that once things settle down, once work eases up, or once we get organized, we will start living intentionally. Burkeman calls this a dangerous illusion. The future you are waiting for is built on the same assumptions as the present. More responsibilities will arrive. New problems will replace old ones. If you postpone living until conditions are perfect, you postpone it forever. This mindset turns life into preparation rather than participation. We endure the present while hoping for a future that never fully arrives. The tragedy is not that time runs out, but that we spend it waiting. To avoid this, treat your current life as the real one, not a rehearsal. Stop asking when things will calm down, and start asking how you want to show up now. Allow meaningful activities to coexist with unfinished work and unresolved tension. Life does not begin after clarity arrives. Clarity emerges after engagement. Lesson 4. Presence over control. The final major lesson is that peace comes from presence, not mastery. Burkeman draws on philosophical and spiritual traditions that emphasize attention over achievement. When we fixate on controlling outcomes, we miss the experience unfolding in front of us. Time anxiety pulls us out of the present and into constant evaluation. Are we behind, ahead, or wasting time? This self-monitoring fractures attention and reduces joy. True presence requires letting go of the need to optimize every moment. This does not mean abandoning responsibility. It means recognizing that attention is a finite resource and choosing where to place it deliberately. When attention is grounded in the present, time feels fuller, even if less gets done. To apply this, practice doing one thing at a time without improvement goals attached. Eat without distraction. Work without checking progress constantly. Engage in conversations without planning the next response. These moments train your nervous system to experience time as lived and not managed. Synthesis and critique. 4,000 Weeks resonates deeply with modern life because it confronts a shared anxiety that technology has intensified but not created. The pressure to optimize, achieve, and maximize predates digital tools, yet algorithms have amplified it. Burkeman's work aligns with Stoic philosophy, Buddhist teachings on impermanence, and even existentialist thought, all of which emphasize accepting limits rather than conquering them. A common misunderstanding is to read this book as an argument for doing less or caring less. That is not its message. The book is not anti-ambition, but anti-delusion. It challenges the belief that worth is measured by output and that fulfillment arrives through control. The real risk is superficial adoption. If you turn acceptance into another productivity strategy, the message collapses. The point is not to optimize rest or schedule presence, but to relinquish the demand that life conform to your plans. This philosophy requires courage because it removes comforting fantasies. Yet it offers something stronger in return, a grounded way of living that does not depend on future perfection. My takeaway from this book: the most valuable lesson from 4,000 Weeks is this: your life does not need to be fixed before it can be lived. Time is not a problem to solve, but a reality to inhabit. When you stop trying to dominate time, you begin to experience it more fully. Choose fewer things. Accept unfinished business. Let go of the fantasy that one day everything will be under control. And what remains is not chaos, but clarity, a life shaped by deliberate commitment rather than endless postponement. If this perspective resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on one expectation you can release this week. If you found value in this summary, consider liking the video, sharing it with someone who feels perpetually behind, and subscribing for more calm, long-form explorations of ideas that help us live with intention rather than urgency. Your 4,000 weeks are already unfolding, and how you meet them matters.